You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K24. It's myself, Mo Mutsi, alongside me as always, the three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, what a night of action in the NBA. How you feeling, man? I know you're working hard out there in Chicago.
Yeah, a little tired tonight, but it's all good. Good action.
BJ, would you
You
say you're
know,
tired enough that you feel like a player in the New York Knicks rotation?
no,
Not that tired. Well,
no.
they might be feeling tired, but they'll feel pretty happy with themselves after taking a 30-point win, the 121 to 91 victory in game number five to take a 3-2 series lead. They're now one game away from the conference finals as Jalen Brunson once again put on a masterclass with 44 points. Miles McBride entered the starting lineup for this one, replacing Precious Achiuwa to give them some extra shooting, and it worked a treat. They got 17 points from him, and they got 18 points from Josh Hart. Only two threes made. Dante DiVincenzo didn't hit a three. He finished with 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. But his impact on this game was absolutely unbelievable. And speaking of impact, Isaiah Hartenstein, 17 rebounds, 12 of which were on the offensive glass. And the performance was capped off by Alec Burks having 18 points off the bench. On the other side, Tyrese Halliburton, another disappointing performance with only 13 points on 9 shots. Pascal Siakam led the Pacers with 22 points. Miles Turner gave them 16. Aaron Nesmith gave them 8. Nemhard gave them 11. And they got 7 apiece from McConnell and Toppin and 6 from Ben Shepherd. But the story of this one, really, BJ, aside from Jalen Brunson, who we'll talk about in a sec, is the Knicks won the rebounding battle 53 to 29. The Knicks had 27 second chance points. They had 62 points in the paint, and they simply outworked the Pacers yet again. What's your takeaway from this game?
Yeah, it's really hard to win when you lose the rebounding battle by that large of a margin. There was a huge disparity in the rebounding, and give the Knicks credit. That brand seems to really affect the Indiana Pacers. Anytime you get physical, the game gets a little where you're playing, it slows down a little bit. And Jalen Brunson, once again, like it's now we're like a broken record. This guy gets 40 points. So,
Well, let's look at it in context
okay.
because I think it's time that we give Jalen Brunson even more respect
Okay.
because this is his fifth 40-point game of the playoffs, the most in a single postseason since LeBron James in 2018. If we look
Mm-hmm.
at the most 40-point games in a single postseason since 1980, LeBron has 8 in 2018. Michael Jordan had 7 in 1989. Allen Iverson had 6 in 2001. Michael Jordan had 6 in 1990 and 1993. Bernard King had 6 in 1984. And Jalen Brunson can join MJ, Allen Iverson, and Bernard King because he's currently on 5. But the most impressive part of this for me was that the Knicks held the Pacers to just 91 points. I don't think they've scored less than 92 points since December 2022. And they only had one game in the regular season, I think, unless I'm mistaken, where they scored under 100 points because they're used to putting up huge numbers. But I think the Knicks going with a smaller starting lineup helped them keep up with the pace of the Indiana Pacers, because they got a smaller lineup out there, only the one big. Um, they really were able to keep up with them and play their style of basketball. What are you thinking for the rest of this series as the series continues? I doubt OG Anunoby will be playing in Game 6.
Well, both of these teams seem to they have the special formula when they get home.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The
little home
series hasn't
cooking.
begun, huh?
Yeah, there's a little home cooking here for both of these teams. I expect the Pacers, to cut this deficit, this 30-point loss. I expect them to cut that. Their fans are going to be behind them. And they seem to play better at home now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough. I think the Knicks feel that they should have, that they should win this. If somehow the Pacers get back to Madison Square Garden, if somehow they do, I think I think he have a chance. I really do think he have a chance. But I'm just going to take a wild guess here and say the Knicks are probably going to win the next game. I
Yeah.
think the Knicks sent a message. They played awful in game 4. I'm sure they watched the tape and they did some corrections. Now, for you to lose by 30 points in a pivotal game like this, I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
This is a big game. Game 5 is a big game in any series. and for you to lose by 30 points.
And
That doesn't sit well.
and the worst part for the Pacers, they had 18 turnovers. 18 turnovers in this game, which was absolutely horrendous. In the first half alone, I mean, they got 14 points off 9 turnovers. I don't even know how many shots they made, but they almost had as many turnovers as points. But like one thing that was great for the Knicks is now every time they're doubling Jalen Brunson, whoever's defender goes to double on Jalen Brunson, that man will just automatically run to the nail, so in the middle of the free throw line. So even though Jalen Brunson isn't tall enough to see over the top of the double team, he knows that his teammate will be there and he can throw that pass and trust that they'll be there. And they can then play advantage basketball with a 4-on-3. So credit to the Knicks getting that win. And then, boy, oh boy, we saw what was one of the best player performances I've seen in a while. Nikola Jokic, 40 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block in the 112-97 as the Denver Nuggets won their third straight game against the Timberwolves to take a 3-2 series lead. And they are now just 1 win away from the conference finals. It was a fantastic team performance. KCP was huge. He went 4 of 5 from downtown, hitting 16 points. Jamal Murray, 16 points as well after a slow start. Aaron Gordon gave them 18. And they got 10 off the bench from Christian Brown. Reggie Jackson was good. And Justin Holiday, fantastic defense off the bench from them too. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns finished with 23. Rudy Gobert finished with 18 and 11 boards. But it was a quiet night by his usual standards for Anthony Edwards, who had 18 points on 5 of 15 shooting. Now, the Nuggets had a great game plan going into this one. They were simply just going to double team Anthony Edwards and make him move the basketball. And it seemed to have worked. Whereas the Wolves' game plan going into this was we're going to guard Jokic one-on-one, turn him into a scorer, not a facilitator. And they ended up with 40 points. And it didn't work. The Denver Nuggets destroyed them in fast break points as well. Jokic's defensive rebounding was huge, and just getting out on the fast break. And the points in the paint, the Denver Nuggets won 62-84. So the Nuggets, we said never count out a champion. We all look like fools for everything we said after the second game of the series. And here they are.
Not all of us.
All of us. All of us. No. We all said, BJ, don't try to get away from it. We all said they're in serious trouble. And they're not. They're not. They just won 3 straight games. 2 of them on the road. And now they've got 2 chances to win 1. I don't think there's anyone who on earth, aside from people in the Nuggets organization, who said they weren't worried after game 2 is a liar.
Well, I will say this about this team. Concern, yes. Because very rarely does a team with a championship caliber pedigree do that. But Mo, I've never been in a scenario or a situation where I lost the first 2 games at home. I've certainly lost the first 2 games in a series. So I know what that feels like to be down 0-2. Okay, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose the first 2 games on the road, and if there's anything you can hold on to, you can hold on to the fact that, okay, some things we did, some things we didn't, but we can go back and hold home court. Now, this is a different scenario because they lost the first 2 games at home. Now, that's a bigger mountain to climb in some regards. Did I think they were going to win 3 games in a row? No, I didn't. I can't say I said that, but as you know, Mo, when you have great players, that great player can win two or 3 games in a series by himself. And make no doubt about that Jokic is a great player. And, I can't believe, if there's one thing that's really been amazing to me, is one of the guiding principles to playing championship caliber basketball is you have to get your best player of the basketball every time down. Jokic touches the basketball nearly every single time on the offensive end. And then that's the go switch. And when you start playing this level, because right now the Nuggets are showing you why they are champions. They're showing you now the difference between regular season, postseason, and then championship caliber basketball. Now they're playing at an elite level. They're not messing around saying we're going to try to get such and such involved. No, we're playing to Jokic, and this is what we're going to do. And then we feed and we go as he goes. That's the difference in the game. Now, at some point here, you got to do the same thing with Anthony Edwards. You got to figure out a way how to get your best player of the basketball 99.9% of the time.
Well, he gets it.
It.
Then they throw two defenders at him and he has to give it up.
Well, Jokic is having the same problem. It's not like he's just going freely around here. I mean, they're aware of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Jokic is such a good passer that they don't want to put two on him. They wanted to play him with single coverage tonight. And that's what gave him this big scoring night because they tried to guard him with just one defender.
Okay, that may be the case. But at some point here, you have to adjust your game plan. Okay, we want to make him into a scorer. Sounds great. Now, I think this guy has seen every defensive scheme that you can possibly throw at him. This isn't any, it'd be different if this is the first time and he may panic or the team doesn't know how to adjust. I think Jokic has seen more sophisticated defensive concepts than this. Okay, I'm pretty sure he has. So it sounds good. I think it was Mike Tyson who said, everyone has a plan until they get punched.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. You want to make him into a scorer and not allow him to pick your part. Sounds great. It wasn't working, so let's move to the plan B.
Yep.
And then if that one's not working, let's move to the plan C. That's how this works. Now, I get the plan, Let me give you the rule for a great player, because you're going to be a GM. You can't allow a great player to be great. That's why he's great.
He's getting buzzer-beating three-pointers over the top of the defensive player of the year, who's a 7-footer. There ain't nothing you can do.
It's like, we all have a plan. Like, I got a plan, Mo. But believe it or not, your plans don't work all the time. So that's not an excuse to say, well that was our plan. Well, the players didn't execute it. Well, some nights, Mo, the guy has it going. He had it going tonight. And here's the thing that he had it going. When you have a great player and he's playing physical and he's beating you with the finesse and the footwork, well, Mo, that's kind of an indication that maybe we got a problem. He was playing physical and then he started being finesse all in the same game. Well, Mo, we got to take away something. Like, okay, we're either going to play physical or we're going to double him and take away so he can't be doing moves, because it's clearly you can't guard him with single coverage, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You can't guard him. Now you can't give him consistent looks. I mean, he caught a rhythm tonight, Mo. I mean, he had 40
points, 15 of 22
assists?
from the field, 13 assists. So
Okay.
making him into a scorer instead of a passer didn't work out either.
Okay. But here's the thing. He had like 0 turnovers.
Yep.
See that how do I force him to not catch a rhythm? Like, make him shoot before he wants to shoot, make him pass before he wants to pass. Like, but don't let him settle into the game. And that's what he did tonight. I mean, he had a beautiful flow going to the game tonight. And once a guy gets a flow, he starts playing like a hybrid player. He scores a little bit, he shoots a little bit. The guy's footwork was incredible. I mean, you could just do a big man masterclass how to play tonight. So this is the playoffs. You can't let great players be great. I mean, he's just that good. Well, he's too good to even think that he is just going to settle in and you're going to confuse him. Well, we're just going to show him man-to-man coverage and he won't figure that out. No, like come on. Like, this guy has seen it all by now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know what the Timberwolves can do in the next game to transfer. But to their credit, they were playing without Mike Conley. They had gilgeous-alexander Walker in the starting lineup instead of him. Conley was out with an injury. We'll see if he's back for the next one. Um, it wasn't a total blowout. The Wolves stuck around a little bit, but you could just see the difference in Jokic. And Rudy Gobert's the defensive player of the year. What use is having all those defensive player of the years if you can't go and shut someone down? Now, I'm not saying it's Rudy Gobert's fault because their scheme is to have Rudy Gobert guarding not Jokic so he can roam and help the paint. I get it. But the game is about stops. That's all it is. We'll see. We'll see. Tonight's games, BJ. The Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics. Boston up 3-1.
C's.
Nah, they love making life difficult, bro. I'm going with the Cavs.
The C's. They're going home, finish it out in 5. Mullen hasn't had any threats yet. The Celtics are just coasting through to the finals.
But that's the joy of being the number 1 seed. That's what you play for in a regular season.
Joy? Okay. All right.
You play for the number 1 seed to get the easiest path through the playoffs.
Okay.
Is it not?
I've never had the luxury of doing anything easy in the NBA, but okay, but if we say so, I mean,
nothing is easy, but easier in comparison to other matchups.
Okay, I mean,
like right. if the Timberwolves had got the number 1 seed, they wouldn't be having to play against Jokic right now, but they didn't, so they are. If the Knicks got the number 1 seed, they wouldn't have to be having to play
if
the
the
Pacers,
goal is
but
to
they
win the
didn't, so they
championship,
are.
you got to go through the best teams. It doesn't matter when you do it. You just gotta meet them. So whether you meet them in the first round, second round,
absolutely,
whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I get it.
But the other
who's
game,
in the next game? Yeah,
Mavericks and the Thunder series tied at 2 games apiece, heading back to OKC. The Dallas Mavericks lost a game they should not have lost in Game 4. Do you think they bounce back off that? I think, like I say every time,
I'm going to go with Shea. Shea looks like he's on a mission.
Yep.
They're going home. I'm sure they feel that they can play better. I think they will play better at home. So I'm going to give Game 5 to the OKC Thunder.
I hear it. I'm rocking with OKC for that one as well. And the series will keep rolling. Hopefully Boston get through tomorrow night and don't make life too hard for themselves, as they love to do. But we can wrap that up there, BJ. Nice early finish for you. I know you're tired. You've been up since 5 a.m.?
Yeah, gosh, this is brutal. This is brutal right now. So,
welcome to my world. It's 6:30 a.m. here right now as we record this.
I know.
So all I'll do is remind you guys to make sure you subscribe to the show, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. Join the Discord server if you want to talk to other basketball fans about the playoffs and the other happenings around the world of the NBA. And until next time, most importantly, you guys, you know the vibes. Get buckets.